If I share the history of how Africa was colonized by different countries, I would definitely end up talking about the bad things done by those countries to Africa. I can't tell that story without mentioning those countries that colonized Africa, no matter how hard I try. I might even live in a country that participated in colonialism and still appreciate the quality of life living there affords me, but that will still not change the history of what they did to Africa. Similarly, if I discuss the deplorable lived experiences of women under patriarchy, there's no way I can have that conversation without mentioning the role that men play in upholding and enforcing that toxic system. I may have male relatives and friends that I am very close to and I care about, but that doesn't change the fact that women are marginalized under the patriarchy. So, if discussing uncomfortable facts about history is not hate speech, I wonder how it is that discussing how patriarchy is toxic for women is now hate speech. The thing is, anyone who is uncomfortable with discussing history or today's realities when it comes to marginalized people, just because it makes them uncomfortable, is an accomplice, whether they know it or not. The question should never be why a topic is under discussion. The question instead should be, is this discussion factual or not? So if the conversation is factual, a good person will sit with their discomfort, think about the roles that they have knowingly or unknowingly played in upholding that oppressive system, and then make a personal commitment never to participate in that system, even if they will lose the privileges that come with being the top dog, right? Moses, for example, was a prince in Egypt, but he rejected the spoils of that system that had enslaved his people, Israel, and he cast in his lot with the marginalized group, even though it cost him his princely status. So instead of him to be a prince that when he's riding over, past, people will bow down and be praising him and worshiping him, he became one of the people that was the underdogs, right? So my point in making this video is this. When you hear women talking about the realities of their lived experiences under patriarchy, don't just jump out and say, it's not all men. If you are one of the good men, you will speak up for the oppressed, just like Moses spoke up for his people, right? Even though he was a prince. We need to call out evil regardless of whoever is doing it, whether it's a person of your gender or not. Now, because I talk about patriarchy from the angle of religion most of the times, a lot of the men that come up to say it's not all men, they are Christians, right? Or religious people. So that being said, I'm going to quote a verse from the Bible that talks about the need to call out wickedness regardless of whoever is doing it. And the Bible verse I'm going to be talking about is Isaiah chapter 58 verse 6. It says, this is the kind of fasting I want. So if you say, I'm a good man, I'm a spiritual person, I'm always fasting and praying, God said, this is the kind of fasting I want. Free those who are wrongly imprisoned. Lighten the burden of those who work for you. Let the oppressed go free and remove the chains that bind people. In other words, get involved. Become an ally of the marginalized. So you cannot say that you're a good person and you refuse to speak up just because it doesn't affect you. Good men will give up the spoils of patriarchy. If patriarchy still benefits you and you're not speaking up for the oppressed, even if you're not personally maltreating the women in your life, you are an accomplice. There's no neutral ground in this matter. So I want you to consider this. When women come out and they're talking about their experiences under patriarchy, it is not hate speech. If talking about slavery, if talking about colonialism and a whole lot of things that have happened in history, is not hate speech. Speaking up about the marginalization of women is definitely not hate speech. So get that into your head.